Hello and welcome to All I Do Is Fail. I am your host, Tom Elwes. I'm joined today, as ever, by my co-host, Mr. Ali Woods.
Hey Tom, hey listeners, how's it going?
It's good, it's good.
You all right? How's dry January?
Dry January is, I will be honest, incredibly boring.
I told you, it's not fun.
It's so boring.
People started I'm actually looking forward to it because it's going to be nice, just having nice sleeps and, not getting too trashed. But it's so dead. After 1 week, you're like, I'm done.
I'm so bored. I nearly cracked last night. I know it was
Tom,
bad on day 9. But
my bet, next podcast, Tom is going to have drunk.
No, I'm we'll see. This weekend's the real test here. But it's just incredibly boring.
Are you going to a party this weekend?
Huh?
You going to a party? My invite?
No,
you
never
didn't message me.
I never messaged you.
Never messaged me.
He's never going to the party.
Never going to party with me.
Dry Jan, it's a really dull thing to do. You're right, everyone offers you drinks. Everyone does offer you drinks. Oh, come on, drink with me, because there's a lot of alcoholics in this world and they don't want to drink alone.
Yeah.
The best thing to do, though, is to drink what looks like a drink, and then people just feel more comfortable than if you drunk something that didn't,
so you drink a
bit of tonic
Coke.
water with a lime in it.
Literally,
that reassures people who are drinking around you.
Should we introduce our guest before we continue?
Hello. We are joined today by the fantastic Mr. Luke Toulson.
Hello. This is my 10th dry January.
Oh, you're also doing it?
Yeah,
nice.
But
you're
also
sober.
do the 11 months in between each.
That's the.
So I'm 2 weeks off 10 years.
You do dry February and dry March and dry.
Yeah.
Wow, because those
think dry January is dull. Try dry year.
Dry year.
Yeah, dry years.
Why? Why'd you do that? Or is that part of your fail? Or is that?
Well, no.
I just never got offered one.
It is a pretty big fail if you can't ever drink again. That is, you have failed at life. Failed at British life. Failed
at British life. Yeah.
What'd
you do for fun? Would you?
You don't. You don't do fun.
Yeah. That's the life of professional comedians.
I have enjoyed, though, people sort of, when they offer you a drink and you go, oh, I don't drink. That's kind of, it's weird, but I like the sort of power of it. And it's sort of like, I'm a little bit better than you. But you enjoy yourself.
They get proper awkward at that moment.
Because they think, what have you done for that to happen?
Oh, dear.
Well, because, there's two.
He's going to start crying now.
Yeah, but you must know, because there's two instances. Either sort of there's a medical thing. Well, January's fine. January, because people don't understand.
Three things,
January.
I think.
Maybe, I would go with, you'd know better than me, but my initial ones would be medical thing, or severe trauma in life. That means you.
Or religious is the.
I didn't even think of religion.
They're all pretty dull.
Tom, you're a bit of a heathen. They wouldn't believe you.
I don't say dry Jan though. I've just been saying I don't drink just to see it.
Why not, Ed?
I don't know, just to follow it. I like it. This is a weird power trip.
Now you know what it's like being vegan, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna get off on it and I'll go the whole hog and just fuck with people. It's kind of fun.
People don't like it because if you say I'm not gonna drink, then they suddenly have to question their own life.
Yeah.
And so that's why they are so, come on mate, just have a half. Come on, don't be silly.
Look,
cheeky drink.
There's no way you can have a good time not drinking with me. Yeah? Okay, because that's how it works. That's what
it's an interesting thing. It was a long time ago, but the process of having to rework out where your line of embarrassment is and letting go, because up until that point, it had been alcohol that had been dictating my behavior.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, when I was going on a night out, I was having to sort of find out, okay, who am I on a night out? And it was
so you stay in a lot now.
Yeah, well, as a stand-up, you're out every night, aren't you? So you
true
sort of don't even, but in pubs, so it was awkward to start
Also,
with.
it's interesting to work out who are your real friends and who you just drink with.
I realised I had no friends.
Yeah. There's certainly some people in my life I'm just like, I won't go see you anymore.
Tom's got so desperate, he's almost messaged me. That's how desperate it is.
I've almost asked Ali.
Maybe Ali's alright sober.
For a smoothie and hang out.
Juice. I'd be well up for a juice, mate. Well
if
up
you drink with someone, then literally that person could have just slept with your girlfriend. You're like, oh, come on, mate, let's just go for a drink. Because you just
by the third pint as well, you're
just
sort of the chat just
mate,
becomes loose, sort of storytelling or rubbish. It doesn't.
But if it's now, if I'm going to be sober with someone, then we have to have.
So what changed for you? Do you used to drink?
Yeah. Well, why did I? It's just ruining my life, so I had to. It was just it was one day I just said, okay, I'm not drinking today, and that became a few days, and then after a while that becomes the new addiction when you sort of get excited by your new life. It's cool. It worked for me. I don't want to bring everyone else down. Ideally.
Well, I was just about to crack open a bottle of Cava, but apparently I'm with two dead guys on the podcast.
Just
Ali drinking white wine on his own. Normal Friday.
Was there a program or anything?
No, for me,
fully just on your own.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was It was, yeah, I mean, everyone finds their own little way, and obviously most people sort of say, oh, did you do AA and stuff like that? For me, the plan was I was never thinking I'm never going to drink again. The plan was not that. It was just, I need to not drink today, and that became 2 days. And then I remember very distinctively, after about 3 months, I felt this moment of sort of popping out of an alcoholic depression. And suddenly, like, I was just suddenly, oh, life's okay. You know what I mean? And I hadn't realized, but I'd basically been in this sort of alcoholic depression for about 15 years, you know? Whoa. And then that suddenly, oh, wow, life's quite cool. And I stopped being such an arsehole to people. And, you know, and you get on. It's, man, I'd recommend it. It's definitely, you know, there's very
So
few
this is
people.
you when you've stopped being an arsehole?
Yeah, this is me.
Wow.
Imagine.
Could have been horrific. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I don't want to see that.
Was it every night you were drinking?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every day, the whole time. Yeah.
Like alone in your room. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. And the funny thing is, when I quit drinking, a lot of my friends were like, "Well, but we didn't know." And you're like, "Well, yeah, because I would get drunk with you that day, and then I would get drunk with someone else the next day, and you get drunk with different people, and then so they then didn't drink in the sort of the month between then but I just had another 30 people that you would go out, or mostly on your own.
Were you doing stand up at the time?
It was early, the first couple of years of stand up, yeah.
Right. And so how was that? Because I certainly noticed that sometimes when you start stand up, you have, or even at this level, like you have people that you know are just a bit, they love it a bit too much. That sort of idea of being the bohemian, go on, a bit smashed already, continue to get smashed because you're at a bar, and especially if they're like, drinks are on us, you're the comedian. Yeah,
totally legitimize your drinking. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Arthur Smith, godfather of comedy, he used to sort of say that he wanted to be one drink better than the audience. Whereas I think why would you want to be in that position? Surely you should be at least one drink less than.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, I was going to say one drink more. So
what if a woman has passed out? She's pissed herself. Like,
Arthur, you better step up, lads.
Figure that out. Like,
no, I think it's and there's obviously several comedians on the circuit who knows how good they would have been had drink not sort of robbed them of their. I mean, that idea of you wake up in the morning hating yourself, and the great comedians are waking up and then writing a joke and and not being dicks.
To be like them, Tom. Where could we be if we even tried?
This is a new world.
If we even tried doing that.
I've been writing every morning. Yeah, something along those lines. But but like I've been dating someone, and I've been having to think of things to do sober. Is a weird thing.
I assume you've not invited her to comedy then. You've not invited her to comedy. Yeah. That's so funny, man. You're like, you'll need drinks for my comedy, bro.
Well, no. I just it's
no sober activities only. Yeah. Nothing where you have your focus.
Well, I don't know about you, but like, I always try and date someone a bit before I invite them to a gig, because just in case I want to know them.
Yeah,
just in case there'd be nothing more embarrassing than.
I date them from the gig. Often
this is the most arrogant guy ever. Like, obviously, I'll smash it. So you're coming.
No, but why would you think that would be a good thing to do?
Because you said you've been on a few dates. So to me, it sounded like you'd done that bit already.
No,
that you would already in a few dates they would have already seen you.
No, yeah, because they because you guys.
If this is going to work, you're going to need to watch me
and love me.
Yeah. You guys must know that as soon as you say to someone new, you're like, oh no, I do stand up comedy. They're like, oh my god, I have to see you. Like, when I know, but
that's why that's a really unhealthy relationship. My partner, my fiance, when we met, she said that she didn't really like comedy. Brilliant. And I was like, I mean, but that's like saying you don't like breathing.
Yeah,
I mean, how can you not?
Is that what people say? I don't like music. It's like there's genres and stuff. But how? Yeah.
But I mean, that to me was a healthy.
Was that after she'd seen you?
Well, actually, but it's a longer. But the interesting thing with that, because we met after I'd quit drinking, and so you go on a date, and the thing about this you'll find is, of course, the first thing that I don't know what it's like with you millennials now with your dating, but when you meet someone, they say, "Should we go for a drink?" It's the first thing that someone will say on a date, and if you don't drink, then the first thing you have to say to them is,
I just send them my gig list. That's what I do.
You just come and
you're gonna love
me. But what do you say instead?
Well, then at
what
that moment, well, I've only had to do it once, and it's
all right.
It's
success
quite
rate,
interesting.
100%, 100p, 1 for 1.
That's the thing. Yeah. When I used to drink, I was a bit of a slut, and then I stopped drinking, and I've only had one girlfriend.
One
since.
Meaningful relationship.
So
Loser.
we've got NASA working on the numbers.
Right, this lame-o on.
No, listen, this guy's never had a girlfriend, but I am hoping.
Hey, I have had one girlfriend. Let's shout out Harriet Kramer.
How old were
R.I.P.
you?
I was 22, 23.
Oh, I thought you never had a girlfriend.
For 3 months. It wasn't long.
That's...
But it was a visual. It was long distance, so it had to be.
Okay.
I never met her.
It was all online.
yeah.
It is weird, man, if you have to deal with alcoholism within the first 30 seconds of a date. That is why it is a bit... I mean, but at least if it's dry January.
Yeah, but I'm feeling like maybe this will... Well, maybe it might work out now because I'm sober and doing it sober.
Does she drink, but you don't?
Yeah.
No, but as in, like, is on the dates, is she drinking?
Yeah.
So she's just getting plastered.
Well, you only have a couple.
Yeah.
Because there's a limit to how much tonic water I can really drink as well. Like, you can't...
Yeah, well, because
go
Nick
for
Dixon has that joke where he's like smashing back 7 Diet Cokes on a night out, on a date, sorry. But you are...
I hope Nick does it slightly better than that.
That's exactly how he does it.
That's
exactly how he does it.
Smashing.
I just played an audio. That wasn't me, listeners. That was the audio
exactly
from
like
him at the Apollo. So she's not. So she's having a couple of drinks because it's awkward for people. It's awkward for both parties involved, and that's why it's not necessarily because they're got a problem with alcohol. It's just like when I'm 2 drinks in, I'm going to be much more myself and much more confident. So did she know you didn't drink when you met up the first time?
I said I'm doing
Said straight off the bat, and you still went to a bar.
Still went to a bar. Still went sat down. Like tried to do like coffee. You can't really get coffee in the evening.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Pubs who serve a herbal tea after like 9 legends. I like that. It's very
But
good.
is she gonna find a monster in February? I mean, obviously, I don't know you, so I don't know.
I don't know.
We haven't slept together yet. Oh, lads. Anyone listening?
Is she gonna find a
If she
monster in
falls for
February?
the sober Tom Elwes and then meets the sort of the Jekyll and Hyde, so the Mr.
Well, don't put that
Hyde.
thought into my head. I don't even know.
You should show her a video of you drunk and be like, "This is the sort of behaviour
Yeah.
you should anticipate."
This is what you got coming. Have one of those little
Feb
countdown
first.
timers.
Feb first. I don't care. It's a Monday. That's what's happening.
I haven't honestly thought about that.
Yeah.
It is weird, like.
But you're just giving up because it's not. It's
It's
a good thing
just
to
January.
do.
I'm not going to quit booze altogether. But definitely all through December, I did go much harder than I would normally because I'm like, well, I'm
'Cause
putting
you
in
knew,
Jan. So I was
finally.
like, December, I was just getting absolutely ruined. And like, just really going for it. So, and then telling people when I was completely fucked, just like, I'm doing dry Jan. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, that was my
Don't worry,
justification.
mate.
Like,
I'll have a month off
Yeah.
next
I know-
year,
I know
and
I
then
look-
we're gonna go back to it.
absolutely mental. I'm not wearing a shirt right now, but you see me in January, I will be sweet. Like,
Yeah. And what are you gonna get out of this?
what dry Jan?
Yeah.
Well, I'm being healthy. I'm
But like,
juicing,
what
I'm-
made you in December? What made you be like? Because normally people get to the end of December and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do dry Jan." They normally take 2 weeks off and then they just go back to it. Why?
To be honest, it was probably justification for drinking so much in December.
Okay,
that
was
was
it.
it.
Yeah, fair.
Saves a bit of money. That's the thing I'm
Yeah.
always astonished by. It's just the prices now,
Yeah.
of just alcohol. That's in the last 10 years, like a rat. How are people affording to get drunk all the time? I mean,
You got to sneak it in nowadays.
Yeah.
it's
Hip
it's
flasks.
extraordinary. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like £5 a pint. Just
Yeah.
you know, and then
Back in
people
your
drink
day,
a glass
Luke.
of-
Back in your day, it was £1
Oh,
for a bitter,
20,
and we all drank bitter, and that was England.
the good days. Yeah, university. Yeah, you
How much
literally-
was a pint?
I remember, the Union. It's probably not massively different, but it was a £1 a pint. Yeah,
Well,
the Union. Yeah, it
ludicrous.
was that. And you would go and get, 8 cans of langer,
And that was
for
like-
£5 beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And then it was like 4 shillings for a
I mean,
shot.
this was the '60s.
You know, times were crazy back then.
At my uni, there was a shop, and you could flip. So you'd buy all your booze, and then you can do the coin toss, right? And if you'll flip, and if you get it right, you get it all free. But if you get it wrong, you have to pay double. Yeah.
What sort of shop was this? Some
Yeah,
sort of
it's a
bazaar?
backyard like dodgy shop, and then like if you said you were going to do the flip, like he'd call his like sort of slightly big looking bounce mate, and he'd stand in the door like that to make sure you did. Yeah, and all your mates had to stand outside. Yeah.
What did you normally do?
Always flip. Always.
How did it go?
2 wins, 1 loss. Yeah, but I tell you what,
Don't play again because
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
lose.
For a house party, 100 quid's worth of booze on the table, and we flipped and won. And to be fair to him, he stuck to it, and like, yeah.
And he's out of business now. What do you recommend as a
Surely,
sober
sorry,
day?
I'm no mathematician, but if
Why are you on the podcast?
Yeah.
All I do is
It's very
algorithms.
even chances. Yeah,
But it's even chances,
Yeah.
and it's gonna just average out.
I think what he goes on is like the PR that he gets from the flip
It's gonna
brings people in.
more people in.
Also,
come.
there's that classic, there's that false thing in, I don't know if it's economics or what sort of academic discipline it is, but people think, and the often example is basketball players, people think if you score, then that player is more likely to score the next one because there's some sort of confidence thing, whereas actually when you look at it,
You've seen The Big
their
Short.
statistics,
Yes.
it's true, it's true.
Yeah.
The statistics show that actually their consistency, they'll get 8 in a row, but then they'll to get 8 wrong, and like, it doesn't actually matter. They don't lead on to others. Right. So he must have thought people would get one right and be like, next time I'm doing it again because I'm going to win. And then they just lose. Yeah. What's a good sober date then?
Everyone keeps telling me to go fucking rock climbing, which is the
we were talking about that. Were you asking me out? We were talking about that just before.
I've been rock climbing on a day. I'm actually doing this as a bit, so I don't actually want to say. But like,
oh yeah, no, go on. Yeah, because that hasn't stopped you before. We won't notice. Don't worry.
It's just an absolutely shit date to go on. There's nothing less cool than putting yourself into a harness. All right, guys, we are going to move on to the news, and we're back in. Okay, so we are talking about beefs in the news in a week of beefs. So we have beefs. We have Wiley and Stormzy going at each other. Yeah. We have Harry and Meghan and the royal family, and we have the US and Iran.
Yeah.
So
all equally important.
In the
beefs.
world. Yeah, beefs.
Can I start with Stormzy and Wiley?
Yeah.
And then I think I would like to pass on one of the other two to you.
Yeah.
It's good. I was unaware of their beef, so I think you better.
Yeah, but you're a bit of an indie grime fan, so you wouldn't know the sort of mainstream stuff going on.
My son, who's just turned 18, he like anyone that age is obviously into Stormzy, and I remember a few years ago I was asked.
You have a son who's 18.
Yeah.
You look so young.
That is another fail, but
I was okay. I was about to say. I thought you honestly
Luke went to university in the 60s.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Well, that's very kind of you, but no, it's whether it's I look young or whether I just messed up early. It's who knows, but no, he's a great guy and he's very cool. And
that's Stormzy or your son?
Yeah. Both, man. They have so much in common. My son, like, he's into sort of grime music, and I remember like a few years back, I was like, "Oh, so what music are you into?" You know, like this, and he's like, "Grime," and I was like, I hadn't heard of it at the time, and I was like, okay.
I can just so imagine you coming through the door in his room. All right, son, what are you listening to?
Exactly, the grime.
Because you think you're going to be a cool dad, and you want to be a cool dad, and you want to be, interested in what he's interested in. So I thought, okay, I'll listen to this grime music. So I typed it in, and I was like, "This isn't music," and then I realised I was like every dad ever before, you know. I wasn't any cooler than any others.
When I was growing up, grime, we used to get rid of grime in the kitchen. That was all grime was to us.
Did you see Joe Jacobs do? He did it on TV, so we can talk about it. It's not going to burn or anything. But like he was doing his raps. Have you seen Joe Jacobs?
I have, yeah.
He was doing his raps, and he goes, "All right, I'm going to do a modern rap now."
Trap, yeah.
He just went like burp, burp, burp for 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny, man. And you can listen to his episode in season 1, Joe Jacobs.
Yeah. So Wiley, as in
Godfather of grime.
Right, okay.
Self-stated Godfather.
I was going to go, I think Joe Wiley. I was like,
yeah, Joe Wiley.
As in Coyote? Yeah.
Joe Wiley, they got beef. Yeah.
Stormzy's giving it to.
So I'm unaware of Wiley.
Well, so basically the origins of grime, and obviously I'm going to have to explain this.
Yeah. Please.
Welcome to the white corner, whitest corner of the podcast.
Famously, I'm from Ends.
Yeah.
So
do the voice.
So last week, I did a lot of bits in what was not by me called, but called by, I guess, Michael Odewale, the Black Voice, which is where I do.
Well, I like Michael. I remember when I introduced him, I was emceeing him at a gig, and I said, "Am I saying your surname right? I want to get it right." And he said, "Yeah. If you're going to get it any closer, you're going to have to put on a Nigerian accent." And I was like, okay.
So I was doing a Black Voice because he was in the room and into it.
You were doing a black.
That's what he called. That's what he called.
Really
I was doing because I thought that you'll like this. This is like you.
Seriously, Ali.
Yeah.
So it
was offensive for everyone.
Everyone loved it. No, everyone was in bits. Listen back.
Did Michael do a white voice back to you?
He has a white voice anyway, but he
just double down on this one.
He I was doing stand-up bits like Kevin Hart, basically, like that sort of bombastic Chris Rock style show. I can't believe it. So I weren't doing that. But I will tell you about Wiley. As grime originated in North London, Wiley and Dizzy Rascal were the two sort of early sort of people who incepted it into people's conscious.
They used to make beats on their PS1. They had like they used to have like a beat making app, like a game, and they used to make the beats
PlayStation
on the PS1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been around for 15-20 years.
Yeah.
And anyway, he's clearly got a chip on his shoulder because he's annoyed that grime,
massive,
commercial, and also that everyone doesn't just start their grime songs with like, shout out Wiley, like you started this, here's to you, man. So then he's basically called out Stormzy for being this pop star and ruining grime and not being.
But he's not just gone after him. What they've done in the beef, they've not really gone after each other. It's just gone after each other's mums.
Oh, that's funny.
It's
Yeah.
just like literally, all the songs start with "Your mum's a dickhead." Like,
So
if
good.
I know anything about mums,
yeah, it's bad.
People don't like
I mean,
that.
Wiley
Year
said
7
if
beef.
he saw Stormzy's mum down Croydon Market, he'd rip the weave off her head, dead. Like that's
Yeah. That's one of your lines, isn't it? Something like
Wow. And Stormzy's...
Stormzy came back and said that Wiley can't look after his mum, and his mum's, in his words, a whore.
yeah.
And has been moved to Cyprus because
he can't
Wiley's
look
not
after
man enough to look after her.
Yeah, they've just gone straight for mums. Like,
Wow.
this
And is there
not-
any truth to it? Is she in Cyprus?
I mean,
think
I've
she
not
is in
seen Wiley's
Cyprus.
mum for ages, so I don't know. But
Jesus. And so, and what do you guys think about this beef then between the two?
I
Where are
think
you
it's
at?
progressive and good for the culture and
Yeah.
expands it.
I think it's Wiley trying to stay relevant, like just hit.
Is this, I guess for me and my generation, this is a bit Oasis Blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, which was a big deal back then.
But Wiley, it's different because Wiley's not as big as Blur was.
Right.
Wiley's, it'd be. I'm trying to think of like.
It'd be Rolling Stones and Oasis because it's the
No,
generation.
no, they're too big. It'd be more
Stone-
like
Rolling Stones.
No,
I'd
but
love.
like
It'd
the
be like.
generation-
It'd be like Oasis and like the Pigeon Detectives.
Right.
Who's that? Adam and the Ant. It's like.
Adam and the Ants. Plural.
Ants, yeah.
You didn't just have one member of the band.
Adam and the Ants versus Oasis.
Just a drummer. Just a drummer.
Oh, they're such different generations, but it's just all. I like how you guys, Oasis and the Rolling Stones,
thing-
basically contemporaries.
Yeah, but basically, like, there was-
yeah. Oh, old music. It's like Rolling Stones and
Elvis.
Mozart, mate.
Yeah.
But Wiley and Stormzy were different generations. That was
Yeah, they were,
that was
yeah,
the-
As
But,
you- as the
but
youth
Wiley's not
corner-
beloved, and also Wiley sold out with commercial stuff anyway. Anyway,
Hasn't
there's
it
lots
all-
of grime
but isn't
podcasts
it
you can
in the
listen
same
to
way
for
that
this.
Blur and Oasis was essentially a sort of a marketing ploy. Is this not going to help?
So
both
I
of them?
think so. This is great for Wiley. I think it's great for both of them. To be fair. Wiley for staying relevant because no one's buying his
Stormzy's
music
got
as
a
much.
new album out.
And Stormzy's got a new album out, and also to show that Stormzy
credible.
still credible doing diss tracks as you're supposed to do as a grime artist. I would
Right.
say from
Yeah,
my
yeah.
point of view, but I don't know loads about it. So that was the first one, which I have enjoyed immensely.
Beef,
Actually,
it's been good.
Enjoyed
And
immensely.
it's ongoing as well.
Done. Yeah. Well, they're all ongoing beefs.
Yeah.
That's we hope. No, we hope they're not. It'd be-
Yeah, not the Iran
The
one so
Iran
much. Yeah.
Hope that one's coming
All
to
right,
an end.
let's do Meghan and Harry. So Meghan and Harry have stepped back from royal duties. They're going to become financially independent.
Trying to.
What I think with this, okay, I
Start
think
from the
that
bottom.
the British public got so
Hope
angry.
it works out for those
Humble.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Stay humble in Canada in that £11 million mansion. But I think the British public got super angry at them and were like, well, why are you complaining about the press intrusion? Fuck you! Like that you chose to marry a royal Meghan. Like blah blah blah. We pay your taxes, and then they went, okay, we'll be financially independent, and then we'll do it. And now everyone's going disrespect. That's disrespectful. How dare you do that? It's just like
Have you seen
can't
the-
have it both ways.
Have you
can't
seen the Queen's diss track? It's
Yeah, it's hard. Your wife's a dickhead.
your wife's a dickhead. Yeah, I agree with you. It's
People
very.
just get irate either way.
I mean, the press coverage of Meghan has been appalling, and this is a fail, I think, of the British public because those papers wouldn't be printing this nonsense about how her love of avocados is leading to sort of some sort of war in the sort of the developing world if people weren't buying those newspapers, And then on Twitter you see all the time people putting up like the coverage of how Kate has been. They talk about Kate, and then the exact same
Angelic,
story for
yeah.
Meghan. Kate is, look at her lovingly holding her baby bump, and then, why can't Meghan stop touching herself?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think it's a real shame. It could have been a really cool thing,
The shaming of Meghan is just.
It's appalling, and it's really doesn't look good on us, the sort of the treatment she's had. But then again, I feel like I'm just like the sort of correspondent from history, but this just feels like exactly how it was, the comparison between Princess Diana and Sarah Ferguson, Fergie.
Tell
They
us
wanna
about the
have-
20th century. What was it like?
But it's just
What happened
it's
before
a history just repeats itself. You see this, and it's the same in everything.
What was
like-
the problem with Fergie? So I know Fergie
No, they liked Fergie.
from
No, they
history.
didn't. No, it was not because Fergie obviously was with Prince Andrew. I don't know if what you want to say about him that might get cut.
Oh, we're huge
but-
fans.
Well, so he is a friend of the show.
He's actually going to come on. He's going to talk about his charity work.
We're doing this in one of his bunkers.
No, well, that was the thing, because obviously Prince Charles, heir to the throne, and then he had this beautiful, for the 80s, Princess Diana wife.
What do you say for the 80s?
Well,
she's
They were
pretty.
fuggos back then, mate. That's when Luke was cleaning up.
Yeah.
She was.
I mean, no.
She's a Luke slight years, mate.
See her
People are
rotters.
always like,
People
wow,
always
she
get
was
better,
so
yeah.
beautiful. And you're like, well, yeah. I mean,
She weren't. She
No,
was.
but
she was
that
pretty.
always happens. Humans get
Yeah.
aesthetically better as they go.
But she was
Well, the
obviously
divergence from
depressed,
anyway.
certainly to start with, while she was part of the royal family. There was, on the whole, this amazing coverage of her. When she then sort of left the royalty after getting separated and divorcing, then it sort of turned, and that was
Got
when it's
nasty.
especially when she started dating Al Fayed's son.
And the surgeon as well. Yeah.
The surgeon, I mean...
Yeah, she dated a surgeon briefly as well. It was just like a
James
normal dude.
Hewitt, look that one up. But then Andrew, who wasn't so liked, and then Ferguson was seen as Sarah Ferguson, she was seen very loud and very brash and not very royal, in exactly how they are with Meghan,
Now the running joke is because he's stepped down, Harry. Who's going to take his place? Like, should we do auditions or something? Like, who would you want to take?
me, obviously.
the Duke of
Ginger
Sussex.
Prince.
Yeah.
Surely Prince
Slip right in there. Yeah.
Bring Prince Andrew. There's a place. Bring him off the bench.
no.
Bring him back in.
So, but
Isn't that
I think we should just
incredible?
get a regular guy who works at
How they
Mac.
said, how the Queen said that she's hurt and disappointed by how this, but she hasn't said that about Prince Andrew.
Well, but yeah, speaking of, that is the hottest take on it. This tweet that I like, that got 32,000 retweets. The British public is genuinely more angry at Prince Harry marrying a mixed race woman than they are at Prince Andrew literally shagging kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
They've got
they're
way
not-
more. Got way more.
They're
press,
not
like-
angry about the marriage. That's not the main.
They
source of
didn't,
anger.
they
The
never
anger.
Well, they've been annoyed
I think-
through it all. Through
Do you
it
think?
all, they've
Do
been
you think?
annoyed.
Well, it was
Sorry, I'm not-
it was the best thing for the royal family. How? I mean, the
Was it
pictures-
overall popular?
No, I don't think
I
so.
really don't know. Maybe.
Not in
not-
Britain.
not on the Daily Mail.
But there's a lot of people who love the royal family who aren't in Britain, who don't live in Britain. So like, the general fan, like obviously
So,
America, they were like Americans, fine, royal family. But in Britain, and the people who like the royal family, which is, I saw some stats on it. That's actually one topic that British people most agree on. That 75% of us would like the royal family, which is not obviously living in your London bubble is not as high. It's higher than you think. But they were like, why is this actor from America now
divorced.
is she
I
divorced?
think she's a divorcee.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually starting to think, she shouldn't be.
I think it was a.
But he was a spare prince anyway, so fucking marry anyone.
Yeah. Like, I think it was great for the royal. Like the PR.
Yeah,
press
of
and
course.
stuff.
The picture, and then when you see the Queen with Meghan's mum, and it just looks it looks great.
It's the woke reboot of the royal family. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, should have been really good.
As
but-
you
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit. I understand all this stuff is probably a lot of racism, but I am a little bit. This is twice in a century Americans have come into the royal family, and with their.
And they fucked it up both times.
No, I'll tell you what. This might be a bit too much, but
it's
I
not this
I'll tell you what it is.
Horatio living up to his name.
Within a century's time,
Right, okay.
about 100 years. But it's an American thing where they think happiness is the most important thing. That's their top priority is American culture.
Fools.
Fools.
In the royal family,
Dedication to the job.
It's like.
Service.
I'll put up with the royal family, fine, as long as we all know they're absolutely miserable. Do you know, that's the deal. Is like, I'm fine with you guys prancing around, but the deal is you're not allowed any freedom, you're absolutely miserable. Do you think the Queen's ever once thought about her own happiness? Not once, because she does her job. And then Meghan, who watched Frozen, thought, I want to be a cute little English princess, comes over here, and finally has to do some small talk with like the president of Turkmenistan, and fucks off. Not having it. Twice, keep it English.
That's quite a lot of rage. I will be honest. I rarely disagree with you on some points, but this one I'm like, nah, that's just no. I can't get on board with that. She was good, and like if they're going to be financially independent, good on them. Like I think fair play.
Well, they're financially independent after they've had their house done up
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
tune of
For the
2.4 million. Yeah,
But that's what I say. Someone else let's hold on issues. Who would you like in Britain? Who's like you're gonna have to be a reasonable
There'll be a
celebrity.
couple.
No, it can be just a single guy to be.
I reckon
YouTuber
David
Sussex.
Beckham's going for that, mate. He loves it. He would
Joel
love to be
Dommett,
Prince.
our friend Joel Dommett. He's that's surely the next step. You do I'm a Celebrity, and then
Mask
you do,
singer.
Have you seen that thing that he's presenting?
Highest ratings of any Saturday night primetime show
Really?
in like a decade.
Really?
What?
What is the
Yeah.
show? What's the show?
It's like a Japanese show originally, but they brought it to the States, and now they brought it to the UK. And it's like basically random celebrities come out in a mask, and you don't know who they are, and they sing. And
It's not just a mask, mate. They're in
The
a
mask is
full costume.
incredibly elaborate.
Yeah.
The production
Like
values.
they look like Alien,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
But like insane, apparently,
Yeah.
the viewing figures for that. And he must be raking it in on that. I don't know. What
Megan's dad. What about bringing him in? That would fuck off the royal family for the bringing.
If you
him
don't
in,
like Meghan, here's her dad.
I think it should certainly be a celebrity of colour. You know,
I struggle to.
Ian Wright. That'd be great.
Yeah, righty.
Yeah,
What?
righty in the fold.
Righty.
Ian Wright. Just
What?
like,
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
He's on Match of the Day in a crown. yeah. I mean, it's just not good enough today.
Wrap
He's
this up
there
and
like
go, kiss some
the
babies.
purple gown sort of thing there. Like, look at it.
Get like an elaborate boxer or something.
Yeah, Chris Eubank. Yeah, he's what you said. Yeah.
Get the Gypsy
He
King.
speaks like a royal now
Yeah.
as well. You
Yeah.
listen to Chris Eubank. I don't know what happened. He took
Chris
too many
Eubank.
hits to
Chris
the head.
Eubank.
Would you like a sweetie?
It was like a tweet. And Chris Eubank.
No, he doesn't have that hard lisp anymore. Like that's weird.
No,
He's like
he does.
retrained.
He's got that weird
He's
lisp.
like, have you seen that thing at Wimbledon where he's like, it's a beautiful summer's day. The breeze is stupendous. I was like, anyway, I don't care enough about the royal family to be honest.
And finally,
I'm ambivalent.
I will move to our final beef. Luke.
The fun one, and finally,
Iran and
yeah.
US. I feel like it's actually sort of calmed down and been settled now in a way. Well, to some extent.
one hopes. God, it's so worrying, isn't it? Yeah.
That plane got shot in it.
Yeah, and that, I mean, yeah, and was that the I mean,
I think it's been
imagine that.
confirmed. It is
There
the
was
reaction.
we
It
all
was the
say,
Iranians.
but then I'm a big believer that we lie quite a lot. But it's they are saying it's the Iranian. But imagine that if they shot it down in error, they thought it was because that happened after they had done the missiles at the American base, and then they see a plane,
Thought it was a US bomber.
and then they shoot it down.
Embarrassing.
What a
fail!
shit-
What a fail! Am I right?
What a shit way to die.
Yeah, no, that's awful.
What a way to go down. No, it's but I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, World War III trending on social media.
You're
It's good to see
politically-
people taking it.
You're politically tuned in. Do you think Trump's gonna win the next?
Well, there's an interesting thing that I mean, yes, is the short answer. I mean,
Cool. All right, next section.
Where
Yeah.
the Democrats, but it's quite funny that during Bill Clinton's another thing from history,
Who?
Bill Clinton,
Was he a stand-up?
he
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Sort of.
yeah.
musical act.
It's like if you got a late night show host to do this.
They did something in Iraq. I think they invaded Iraq, which delayed the impeachment hearings against him. Which, of course, and obviously, there's a tweet for everything, isn't there? With what Donald Trump's done, that he did all those tweets about, you watch, Barack Obama's going to invade Iran so that he gets re-elected.
Yeah, literally says Iran as well.
Literally
yeah.
says the things that he did. So I think, you especially if you're a wartime president, you get re-elected.
Every time. Well, it was like Bush won in a landslide after 9/11. Like, it was like-
Yeah.
Because they got. Well, they didn't
No,
get
they
someone
were
banana,
trying
but
to-
they said
they
mission
started-
accomplished.
yeah.
with all
Mission
the-
accomplished with that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's, oh well.
Good times.
Good times.
Good times.
Right, guys. That was the news. Fuck that up.
We are,
No,
that
it
was.
Okay, let me do that again.
We are that was, and we are performing to you live from Stockholm. And together, me, Tom, Luke on my left, Ellie on my right. Together we are that was. Our producer Horatio.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. And that, guys, was the news. Okay, Luke, we are going to move on to fail of your life. Luke,
Yeah?
take it away. The floor is yours, my friend.
Awesome. I wrote down. I've got 10 on a.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
Too many. Yeah, I failed a lot, but they.
I'll just crack on. Me and Tom will
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
at some point. You just
No,
Leave
you
your
go,
live
just go
stream.
through them.
Okay,
Go through
10.
them.
Do you
Well,
want
this-
sometimes?
This was just sorry. Go for it.
Sometimes people say their fails, and then we go, let's hear about this. Or sometimes go through them straight. They just go from one step.
Whatever
what do
you prefer.
What do you
Well,
want to do?
I wrote that this morning. I had a bit of a thing because I have failed a lot, but they're on a sort of sliding scale. So you can talk about whichever ones you want, and you can even dismiss them. You can say they're not fails. Is this cool?
Yeah, it's great.
You
yeah,
sure?
it's amazing.
Perfect.
When I was a teacher,
What did you teach first?
I trained as a geography teacher, but then I largely did. I was largely a sort of general cover supply teacher. So I went in.
The most prestigious.
Oh yeah, where you're just sort of teaching any sort. Yeah, I was.
We need a tall person at the front of the class so that people know there's authority.
Well, they just needed someone. It was just crowd control. You know what I mean? And they and I was. So I can't even remember what subject this was. I was teaching this day, but there was a kid who clearly wasn't very engaged with the lesson. He was clearly that, and I think he was sort of sketching away on his book, his tag, like his graffiti tag thing. And I was trying to connect with this kid, and I saw it, and I said, "What's this?" He said, "Oh, this is my tag name." And I was like, "Oh right, Muck Killer," and he was like, No, it's MC Killer, and that was when I realised I was officially old. I was like, that was
Killer.
Muck Killer.
You thought he was some sort of McDonald's,
some sort of
conglomerate or something like that. At the board meeting, if you want to eat enough of our hamburgers, we need to take a more aggressive approach. The new McKiller. If you don't eat it, we'll kill you.
Quadruple stack.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing.
I saw a great...
What did he say? But was he like...
No, it was just a look of like, oh right, you're just... But because the thing is, you don't realise this, guys. It creeps up on you. You think you're going to be young forever. You think you're going to get everything. And then just suddenly you start saying things and you're like, oh shit, that's the sort of thing that someone twice my age would say.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I did see a great thing with a supply teacher, and some kid posted it on Reddit, and had a supply teacher, and it was like a nightmare school, a really bad class. And every time the kids would talk, he would start writing Avengers spoilers on the board. And like, so every time they would kick off, he'd start writing like a bit like a hangman. It was just like Thanos like going through it, and like, every time the kids
that's
kicked off.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That was good. I was. It'll come as no surprise, but when I was, because I wasn't overly clever, and that's a lot of the fails coming up. But I was when I was teaching geography A level, I was teaching to kids who were often a lot cleverer than me. So I would find that what I would do, because when you're starting out as a teacher, you're only in your early 20s, and these kids are like 17, 18, and I found myself trying to make the subject sound more complicated so as to sound more intelligent. So I was doing the exact opposite of being a teacher. I remember,
but in a way, preserving your job.
Yeah. Your dignity.
Because you want to, and so I remember when I was teaching about ozone depletion, the hole in the ozone layer, I wouldn't talk about it as ozone. I would talk about it as oxygen in its triatomic form, just to make it sound more complicated. And that's how insecure I was as a teacher. So that was number one.
That's
fail.
a good one to
so
warm
that's
up
the sort of
into.
the
Number
lowest
one.
Second one. This is when I was as a kid. I wanted to be a skateboarder, but I was terrible at balance. And I remember we were on a summer holiday down in Swanage, down in Dorset, and along the front there, they've got a big sort of promenade. And I was skateboarding along with my family, and there was some
all on one skateboard. Wow.
Oh yeah, man! And there was a cable across the promenade, and I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ollie it. Of course I am.
I'm a big skateboarder, so
are you?
I'll show you a kickflip afterwards.
Oh, of course, the skateboarder. Please, man.
You're not trying to get off with him, Tom. For fuck's sake, Jesus Christ, can't help this man, can you? Sober, drunk, whatever. I'll show you a kickflip after this, and I'll show you something else.
Just because you're jealous, you can't do a kickflip, man.
I can't do a kickflip now. I was too busy reading and educating myself.
Is a kickflip an ollie? That's the same thing.
It's when you make the board flip underneath you.
Oh right. Oh, the flip. This was.
It is cool. It is cool.
I'm pretty.
Honestly, if it was 1998, I would be all over it.
Skateboarding's cool again. It's in the Olympics.
Skateboarding is cool again, Mom.
Yeah, in the
Did
Olympics.
it ever stop being cool?
No, I think
I think
skateboarding's always been pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Ollie is upcoming.
Oh, yeah,
the cable's
over
there.
this cable. I do, and obviously I'd never done it before, or never successfully. I go for the kick bit of it, and I just launch the board. I just sort of, as I get up from the floor, I see it like hurtling like a sort of a missile towards some Ukrainian plane, right? And it's sort of oh right, what? It's a callback to the thing before. I don't know.
You've just been so gentle so far.
You got that dark savagery.
He's almost getting to gig time. That's it. Yeah.
No, I see it, and there's this elderly lady up in front, and it takes her out.
You wish it was a Ukrainian plane.
It would have been less embarrassing. But it completely took her out, and she, I remember her then shouting rape. Right, this was her thing.
Rape.
She said rape, like this. This was what she
we're just
said.
going to cut that bit, by the way. You just shouting that on the video.
Oh, that's going to be the thing. Okay, I'll say that. And it was and I'm sat there.
Jesus.
I can't remember.
Why would you say rape?
Why?
I don't know. Maybe this
She
is
thought
what
that
she
was the
thought this was
first-
happening, or it was just the word. I don't know why, but this was the thing. And she goes down hard, right? And she's with her husband, and then all these people around. They just feel like she's being attacked because they haven't. There's no one there because the skateboard's shot past, right? And I'm down there, and I'm like, oh shit, this is bad. Anyway, these all people come around, and her man who gets this the skateboard and goes and sort of puts it in the bin like this, and I'm like, dude, I've got to get my skateboard, you know what I mean? But then they're going to know it's me. So anyway, I went and got the skateboard, and then all these OAPs sort of rounded on
So
me.
they stayed where they were
Yeah.
by the bin, and you just had to sort of.
I had to go and sort of sneak and sort of by getting my skateboard was outing myself as.
But they saw you, yeah.
Yeah, at that stage.
What did
yeah,
they say?
had to go there. Well, then at that stage, my dad sort of stepped in and sort of said, "Fucking okay, old people, relax," you know. And he gave the lady £10 to get some new tights because she had like ripped her tights band. So yeah, I mean, in the end, I survived, but it was a pretty hectic 5 minutes, I can tell you.
Did you go back to skateboarding immediately?
That was sort of the end of my skateboarding career. You know what I mean? That's like maybe one of those comedians who, you know, dies a really hard death on their first gig and then just never does it again.
Yeah. I'd like to meet some of those people. We should get them on. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Just
true.
the one-timers. The one, yeah.
Yeah, one night stand comedians.
Yeah.
Just one time only, baby. That's it. That's a video.
We can crap through these, Ben.
That's cool. That's a good one. Skateboard.
I asked my fiance what she thought was my fail, and the one that she said was when I blew up the microwave just recently. I'd forgotten
You
this.
blew up the mic. Outrage.
Yeah,
Put metal in it.
Yeah.
You
I didn't
just
know about
launched a skateboard at it.
that. No, that was just yeah. So I
Blow
had to
you
buy
up
new,
like a
buy new.
Iranian warlord.
Of all the running jokes to have during a pod. Number 4.
No, but what happened? You didn't tell us how did
Oh, it just blew up a microwave. I didn't know you weren't allowed to put. Like, I think
What
I put.
did you put in
You know,
there?
well, you know, naan bread, and it's sometimes in.
I've
those
heard of
sort
it, yeah.
And they come in those sort of with
In the foil sleeves?
Yeah. I
why'd you put it in the
But why
sleeve?
wouldn't you put that in?
Because it's metal.
Yeah, okay, but the thing about
But
other
also it doesn't
people's
need the
fails
sleeve.
always seem like really obvious to you. Like, okay, this is not one
Microwave
of my
cooking.
list, but I remember I was driving in my car and the steam was coming out, and I was up in Sheffield at the time, and I open up the bonnet and there's a sort of steam coming out of this thing. So I lean in and I think, okay, I'll release the pressure like this, and I release this thing, and it's the water thing, and the pressure on it just explodes off, and then burning steam just rips all the skin off my arm. Like this.
fuck.
And yeah, it was horrendous, right? And you tell some people who don't know about cars, and they'll be like, "Oh, fuck, maybe I would have made that." You tell anyone about, well, they're like, "You idiot! Why would you possibly do that?" So yeah,
But there's a difference between a car engine and a microwave, I would say. I don't know how a microwave works, but I know don't put metal things in it.
but who told you that?
It's just life.
Yeah, but what if life didn't tell you that?
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe I just...
Because maybe life just told you about that, but it hasn't told you about the car thing, and maybe it hasn't told you about other things.
How to,
Yeah, it's
how
true.
to
You can,
kick flip.
you can slip through the cracks of just like common sense.
okay.
It does happen to
Okay.
people.
No, I'm not justifying it. It was a stupid thing to do.
Okay, well, I'll
But
let
the,
it off.
It was the big one that my... Oh, the worst thing about the thing when I was stupid. When I did that, I had to get my arm all bandaged up, and I then had. This is when I was an actor, and I had been for ages trying to get an audition with this really prestigious inventive theatre company called Told by an Idiot. And I turned up to the audition, and I had this bandage on my arm, and it was a workshop audition, and it all went well. And then I never heard from them, and I realised obviously afterwards that they must have thought that I was.
You cut yourself.
I was just.
Yeah, you were just that
Why
way
would they
inclined.
possibly give me a job?
You didn't say what was going on with your band. No one asked.
But yeah, why wouldn't...
Everyone was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, but then that's bad on them because I would have been like, let's just put him through. Fuck
Yeah.
it. I'm not going to...
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not going to
Well,
be on my watch.
I think that's the sign of the times. Had I done it now, then
They would have
absolutely
gone,
they will.
yeah,
we
you're-
can't
don't do
discriminate
the workshop.
against
Just go
suicide
through.
people.
Self-harm.
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
but it
Okay,
was-
I'll let you off. But how bad did it blow up? Did it...
Well, it sort of went on fire. It was on fire.
Jesus. And then
stuff.
what did you... How did you put it out? Tea towel.
Well, no, it
Wet
was.
tea towel?
I mean, the microwave sort of blew, but the thing was on fire, and
Oh,
so I
the
just
naan
took
bread
that and
was
put that in the sink. So yeah, it never worked again.
It's a lot. Have you ever put CDs in the microwave?
No.
Great time.
Right, I know
What?
not
What
to
are
do
you, a
that.
teenager?
What are you eating,
No.
Tom? That's your diet, mate.
As a teenager, like I remember my mate who was like had an old microwave. You just put shit in it just for fun. Yeah, put a grape in there. Absolutely insane.
Jesus.
Yeah, good times. You ever find an abandoned microwave and have a laugh? Bit of a fun afternoon. Go get some CDs and a grape and have a good time.
Life of you lived.
I remember I put we used to, when I was at school, there was a dryer, a big tumble dryer, and we used to go in that.
Yeah, and turn it on. Yeah, I remember that at school.
You used to go in the tumble.
Yeah, you can turn it on.
I mean,
watch someone go around for a bit. It's good. Yeah.
What sort of lives you guys?
But I mean,
A non-sheltered.
I get that from him because there was no health and safety in the 70s. But Tom, come
We
on,
do it all the time. It's
well,
fun.
you should.
Good times.
Yeah.
Well, I was inside looking after myself,
Yeah.
reading about microwaves and how they operate
And the correct usage.
and the correct things to put in there. Grape, no.
Yeah.
CDs.
Yeah. He can tell you all about the physics of skateboarding. Like,
Well, actually, if you think of this, then P equals MC squared.
Are you physics good, man?
No, Tom just assumes anyone with a sort of articulate level of intelligence. What are you, some sort of scientist? Fuck this guy, let's go get some girls. That was Tom speaking, by the way. Anyway, next one, Mike
Number
blew up.
4, I was so bad at English at school that I, instead of having French lessons, I had extra English lessons, right? So I didn't
Wow.
I never did French.
Dyslexic?
Yeah.
Oh,
so like
me-
proper.
oh.
Two of them in.
So I was
Well,
really.
you've handwritten this.
Yeah,
Fucking
man.
come a long way.
Did you want me to type it up? And
What about just saying
frame it
dyslexic, tough with English, and yet here you are to this day.
Oh, no, I'm
just
all
smashing
about
it.
this. This
was
is,
extra time a thing when you were...
Well, it was, but
Okay.
this is. Look at this. This is getting out my pencil sharpener and my rubber. This is. I'm all about the pencil, man. This is. Yeah, I write everything. I don't.
What?
This
You do know that computers exist.
computers exist, man. No, but yeah, I'm all about.
Why do you write everything in a pencil? I mean, it's quite
Because it's a
twee.
more creative way to work. I just feel more sort of connected to it. And also, we didn't have, what do you want me to say? We didn't have computers when I was growing up, Barry. We only had 3 channels on the fucking TV,
15
mate.
years just to get a typewriter in.
We didn't have a remote control.
That's a cute
This
little
was
pencil.
before, I lived before VHS machines. You know what I mean? It was before video recorders. Like,
you had VHS?
Yeah, before that.
What was
yeah.
that? But like,
Betamax.
Yeah, I mean, well, that came in the 80s, you know,
Super
video
8,
machines.
Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, the old Cinefilm. That's what.
Yeah.
Our first holidays are all on that. Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's we've got to have one in. This was. Is this fair? I don't know. I remember when I was
Smashed
starting
it too
out.
hard. No one could follow.
What was that?
Smashed it too hard. No one could follow.
No, well, no, literally the obvious. No, I was doing one of the competitions, the Amuse Moose competition.
Nice.
And
Had you been doing it as an MCing or participating?
this is when I was starting out, so like a year in or 2 years into stand up or whatever it was at the Edinburgh Festival in the final, and I was pretty good as a new act, and the acts were going on, and there was people. You may know, like people like Chris Martin and Tom Deacon, and they were all doing fine. They were doing good, but I was like, "Come put me on. This is going to be great. I can feel it. You know, I'm at the top of my game. I'm going to smash this. This gig's here for the taking." And then this kid called Jack Whitehall went on, and no one has smashed a room quite as hard as that ever. It was just, and then Stephen K. Amos was emceeing, and at the end of it, he sort of basically said, "Well, that's obviously one. Anyway, we better go on with the rest of the competition."
Wow.
So our next act is, I went on and I played to silence for 5 minutes. Literally, just it was the most awkward at that moment, you know, when those beats hit, and you get a DVD of your gig after that as part of your sort of having been in the final. And it took me a year to pluck up the courage to watch it. And I watched it, and I don't put a foot wrong. I'm literally, everything about it is good. It's just that the whole room had gone, okay, we've just seen A Star Is Born. We've just seen the future of British comedy.
Did he... Have you got Jack set there as well?
No.
I'd like to have seen
but
it. Actually, see how good it really was.
You can see it. No, it's online,
Oh,
and he
really?
was very different then. He was much more
From
sort of
street.
nihilistic and withdraw. He was sort of all about cynical, I suppose, rather than his sort of much more sort of chirpy side. But I mean, it was at that time it was impressive that there was very few young comedians, and he was like 18 at the time or whatever. And there's loads of 18-year-old kids doing it, but it was.
So they had him, and then to the audience, you basically came on and gave a health and safety talk, and then
I might as well have done.
Did some geography teaching.
It was just so. It was just funny because they had just. It was like the oxygen had been just sucked out of the room, and there's nothing you can do in a 5-minute competition when you're. Like, what are you going to do? You're still trying to win, and you want to say, guys, okay, I get it, but I'm now playing for second place. Can we deal with what's happened? But yeah, man, it was.
and you want to do you. You don't want to go on in 5 minutes of getting the room back
No,
and then
It
pass
was
it on to
just-
someone
it was
else.
Funny, man. And that was the moment, because after that he got signed by Hannah Chambers, his agent, and he sort of went on tour with Matt Horn.
But where is he now?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
Doing nothing. Yeah.
I've had a few of those sort of passing sliding doors moments with comedians. So I did when I met my my partner. I think they're banging on a lot about. I'm sorry about that. But she unless you've
no room for love on this podcast.
unless you've
Luke.
cut those bits as well, Tom. But the
Just be a montage of you talking about your lover. That'd be it.
when I met her, the first time we met her is because I was going with my cousin to go and see James Acaster, who wasn't famous at the time, and this is obviously 10 years ago or whatever. And she.
Wait, you were going to see him?
I was
but
going
he
to
wasn't
see James.
famous.
He wasn't famous 10 years ago. So
But he was
like-
doing full shows.
No. This was just that he was doing a spot at a gig. But my cousin, who's Austrian, was a big fan of his.
Oh,
and
right.
like, before anyone else, he was a very eccentric act then. But she loved him. She thought it was brilliant. So we were going to see him do this gig. And then the final, the headline act was meant to be Josh Widdicombe. Also, this was sort of pre-fame. It was a small gig in London Bridge. And but he was ill. So the James Acaster suggested to the guy who ran the gig, oh, you know, there's a comedian in the audience called Luke Toulson. He could do it. So I went up and I did Josh Widdicombe's set. And then after that...
You didn't do your own stuff.
I did literally that.
It's literally so annoying.
Why are we here? Why? I know. Someone tell me, why are we here? Because it's not for me.
Take your shoes off. Got to take your shoes off. Take your shoes off. When you come in.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah, it's not fun.
What? It's a house.
Someone
It's
think
not a
may have-
mosque. Why are you taking my? Why are you asking me to take my? It's some religious thing happened here.
Asking for 10. Yeah, go on.
And that was Josh Widdicombe, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So thanks,
You know,
thanks
this,
for coming
this
on.
pod, I'm starting to get the feel for it. It's just how can we get to impressions? What you know? What? How do we get?
Yeah.
There has been
quickest-
more
He's fuming.
today.
No black people have come up that he can do his impressions of. 'Cause
I'm
it is
surprised you didn't do any
just-
Iranian accents earlier.
There's more today than there has been normally, because I think before the podcast started, they both said you should do more. You should do more impressions in you. But you were referring to my stand-up and not a podcast, which I apologise.
I was specifically saying I thought you should do the football pundits as in a different context in your stand-up set. So that'd be fun. And specifically Roy Keane and Graham Souness.
Specifically Roy Keane. Well, guys, if you want to see that, what may be, you can get tickets to my Vault show. You certainly can get tickets, that is for sure.
I would absolutely love it if you became known as the impression guy.
Fifth
That would
and
be
6th.
so good.
Oh, I've asked them. Oh, God. 5th and 6th of February. Come along, 8:30 p.m.
But it's interesting though that loads of comedians though.
Did you do well at the gig though?
Oh well, I'll come to. I just
yeah.
wanted to. But thank you, Harish. But it was just loads of comedians. It's really weird that they're on stage. And I'm not saying this about you, obviously, but they're really dull on stage, and then they come off, and then they're doing impressions, and they're
I
doing.
think that's fantastically
That's
accurate. actually.
definitely
Yeah,
about
yeah,
me.
yeah.
How?
Only room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he said it wasn't about you.
yeah. Oh, it's not about you, but when I'm watching Ali Woods, I get the
Yeah.
feeling it's very boring.
It's incredibly dull.
You should
I'm
see so
specific-
many sort of young
I'm specifically
ginger
thinking
comedians
of
who are currently
Yeah.
who are currently in this room.
I have a
Just really
comedian in mind.
surprised
He's
at
not
how
you.
entertaining you are. It's really...
And I'm not saying this is entertaining, but it's more entertaining than what you sort of do
Well,
when
but
you're
you,
on stage.
yeah, you could do, but you do quite a lot of impressions on stage anyway. Not impressions, but accents.
I do.
Voices.
Quite an offensive South London accent, don't you?
Yeah, pretty racist one.
Sorry, Horatio and Tom Elwes. Are you offended by that? I've literally got a friend of a friend from the streets, so I find it very offensive. So what happened in the gig?
I did Josh's spot, not his set, guys. Well done. And then after that, this beautiful, smiley, amazing woman came up to me, and that was my fiancée, and we've been together ever since.
Wow, that's brilliant.
and
I thought you
What
said you didn't like
sliding
comedy.
doors? That's crazy. If Josh hadn't been
Josh has a sitcom. So, yeah. Well, yeah, the toss-up was either my fiancée or a TV. I'm not saying that that's what not doing that gig led to his career, but who knows? But it felt like a
that's
sliding
wonderful.
ships in the night moment. Right, we are halfway through my top 10. No, they're not my top 10 because
Be like a
it's
garage.
just constant.
It's like a top of the pops. We're halfway through Luke's top 10
You may-
fails.
how are you doing for time? Do you guys have a fail? What do you want to do? Do you want to keep rattling
You
through?
keep
What-
going, bro.
Primary school. Oh yeah, so we have year 4. I was this one's haunted me, and this again is tied in with how good's your handwriting?
pretty shit. Yeah.
Right, yeah, this is another thing about being dyslexic.
This is quite sweet watching you two bond over this.
Bond over our flaws, man. There was a thing where on the Friday after lunch or whenever it was, every week the teacher would get us all. We'd all sit down. And so what are we here? We're like 8 years old or something. I don't know, like young, maybe younger than that. I don't know. Can't remember. And we would sit around and she would read out the names of the kids whose handwriting had been good enough that week
To get pens.
Shit, was this not just our school?
That was our school as well, bro.
Fuck,
In
man.
different
I didn't
stages,
realise
man.
This was,
Yeah,
I didn't realise
yeah,
this was a
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I thought it was just ours, and you get a pen.
Yeah, you
And
upgrade
every
to a
fucking
pen.
week, man,
Never getting
I
a pen.
was.
Oh.
I never got a pen. Oh
Brutal.
shit! Oh,
Also,
I thought
just
that
like
was
classic.
No, but
classic
that's-
being
I'm still waiting for my pen.
Still on the
That's why you got the
pencil.
pencil, man.
One day,
You haven't got your license. I've got my pen license in my.
And like
my
classically being lobbed on like Peter Kay style thick table as well at school.
Yeah.
Like, always just like, oh, it's the worst.
Were you on the thick table?
You get for English, yeah. Not for maths though.
Oh.
But yeah.
Second thickest.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
Actually, I'm
quite good.
pretty good.
That's
yeah.
nice.
But yeah, English, always thickest possible table. Like, just yeah.
And
It
this
was
shit
actually the
haunts
table was
you.
actually thick. So other kids would lift it
Wedge your
in a
table,
region.
yeah.
Figuratively
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
literally.
Oh.
Yeah,
So were you
no.
the last in your class to get the pen?
No, I didn't get it. I didn't get
They
the
never.
whole- they never.
And they
gave
didn't
it to,
pull you
even
aside and be like, Luke,
Dude,
you can't.
like, you don't deserve it, but here it is. No, they just. I never got the pen.
Wow.
And every week, the
That's
delusion-
brutal, bruv. That's brutal from
The
the teacher.
delusion. I sort of thought I
But she
would.
made people sit round, and then she'd go,
Oh, it was a
no
big
one
ceremony
today.
thing.
She
Well, look, normally there would be someone or whatever.
Oh, so it's like one person a week.
No, it was like one person a week. So I
Because we had
guess-
ours in stages. That was a different.
No,
so
no, it'd be
wasn't-
like it was a big thing. Maybe there'd be two, and maybe there would be like a somewhat. I can't. All I remember is sitting there, needing this pen, wanting this pen, and never getting it, and always thinking this will be the week. You know what I mean?
That's actually quite heartbreaking, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we all.
And one
would
day
say-
you'll get a pen.
Yeah.
Not now, obviously, still on the pencil. But
I went to a primary school that specialised with dyslexic kids, and they
Yeah.
taught the first thing that they did when you showed up there. Most kids would go for like 2 years. You didn't need to go the whole time.
that's where you
Is
learn
it-
your ACBs.
They would just be like, teach kids touch type. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, straight away. Yeah, no, I got it. But I was
They didn't like
going on a serious point
didn't
about my
like
childhood, and he's yeah. The first thing they taught everyone to touch type. That was it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely changed my life. Yeah.
That's,
Genuinely,
yeah.
I met up with all the boys I went to that school with, and we all like went through university and all do different things now.
Yeah.
And without it, none of us would. Amazing school. Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, that's
Do you want to
clever.
give a shout out to the actual school?
Fairley House in
Shout out.
Pimlico. Well done. Doing
play.
good work. Yeah.
Fairley House. And how are you spelling that?
QV.
It's a classic zing.
Yeah.
Ruthless stuff. They have all heard it all
Yeah.
before.
All
But
right,
that's
let's
good.
keep
That's
going.
great, Tom. Well done.
Yeah. No, we're all very proud. No, like when someone from the dyslexic community really breaks out.
Breaks
you
out.
know.
It's always Richard Branson that everyone always talks about. Every time they talk about like famous.
Oh, is he dyslexic?
It's
Yeah,
always
no,
Branson.
when
yeah.
we were kid, it was Tom Cruise was the one.
Yeah.
And then I was speaking to someone who's a lot younger than me, and they said that they talk about Orlando Bloom as being
Yeah.
like shit. The disease is getting worse. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, that's
Good looking though. Those guys.
Albert Einstein's dyslexic, to be fair.
He's
yeah.
the OG.
Yeah, he's the OG guy.
Yeah. I remember when I was told the thing about when I was a kid being told I was dyslexic, they didn't really tell you what it was, and I thought it was like sort of AIDS or something, you know, despite the fact that I hadn't had sex. I was just,
Well, that's just all you're seeing in the news at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I thought I was going to die. And I remember them saying, but you know, Albert Einstein's dyslexic. I'm like, yeah, but he's dead.
He's
You know
dead.
what I mean?
Yeah, got him. Got him.
I genuinely, I
Yeah,
thought
E
it was
equals
much
MC
worse thing
squared.
than it
What's
was.
that word, mate? That's not a word.
That doesn't spell anything. Yeah, man. No, I was, yeah. I think that the whole thing or how people deal with it now is so much is better. Back then, it was just like you're dyslexic, but it was a very new thing at the time. This was sort of whatever. God, I'm just trying to check the next stories, make sure they're not going to make me seem like I come from the past. Oh right, this is
I was on my hover glider.
This was right. So me and some other people. We had the shit kicked out of us by some squaddies, and
Well,
so
how old were you here? What was going on?
this was I was at 18, and I think it was on Christmas Eve. We were in Rickmansworth in Hertfordshire, where I grew up, and so we were there, and we were absolutely beaten up. And anyway, so giving the statement to the police, this is something that I still cringe about today, and this just shows you what we think about the police. They used to back then. They used to hand. I don't know if they still do, but you would write out the statement. You say it to the policeman. He writes it out in his hand. Then he gives it to you. You read it, and then you sign it if you're happy with it. I remember then reading it, and then you have to initial any mistakes. And I just, after I read a couple of lines, I still can't believe I said this to him. And it wasn't an arrogant thing. It was just I wasn't thinking. I just said, "Do you want me to correct the spelling?" I said this to the fucking policeman, man.
Wow.
As
So ballsy as well, being dyslexic as well.
Yeah, but that's just, how bad was his spelling? That a dyslexic kid was better. But it was just spelling was that, and he said, "Yeah, do that." So I then just basically went through and corrected this guy's spelling.
That's you can imagine your calling to be a teacher.
Yeah, and you can imagine just how hard they tried to find those people who beat me up. But can you imagine?
You can imagine him being like, "Yeah, Gordon and son, correct that spelling. Oh, look, good boys, have a look at these."
Well, you're all mate. It's not going anywhere.
Can you imagine? But why would it?
Why'd you get beaten up? I'm more interested in that. Why'd you get beaten up? What happened? They just didn't take a liking? Didn't like you?
No, it was me and some other people, and there was about 5 of us, and we were just walking along High Street, and these were just a gang of us. And I understand, sometimes you get this in, they the whole week they're doing whatever, and then they, the military stuff and, that, and then they go out and they're all psyched up and, drunk, and they'll just get the shit out of people. Jesus. So, yeah, we were just unlucky. It was proper wrong place, wrong time. And I got off quite lightly, but some of the other... And there was I think there was 4 guys and 1 lady in our group.
Bloody hell.
And I think I was trying to... But I got, knocked out. But, no, other people got it much worse than me. So, it was... Yeah, no, it was proper.
How do they, open the gambit of the reason for the fight, or is it just...
Oh, they just came
to
out.
go straight in with a punch?
Yeah, totally.
Anything?
No, it was on the other side of the street, and then just obviously at some moment we were there was 2. We were sort of walking from one pub to another one, and I think there were 2, 1, 2. So maybe there's only 5 of us, and I was sort of in the middle, just wandering along, and they just went for the 2 behind us, and then we went round, and I went round, and I went back to try and. Do it, and I was very quickly sort of knocked out. So I played a fairly short role.
But is it like a laughing? Is it a laughing sort of mood they're in?
No, I think I mean this is.
Are you trying to get research for a play or something?
No, it wasn't. No, it was laughing.
It's I often hear about being jumped by someone.
Yeah.
But it's hard to conceptualize.
Anger.
At least not having some sort of reason.
No, the anger.
Weird,
no, we're
anger.
Going out on the town like fucking, and so who knows? There may have been some thing that they had taken a dislike to the couple behind me, and they just. But I mean, if it hadn't been us, they would have had some. And it turned out that a couple of the guys in this fight had beaten up a policeman, and so they were quite keen to get them anyway. So the fact that I was correcting this policeman's spelling was probably not a big faux pas in the wider context of this. But yeah, no, they just wanted to beat some people up, and they probably did. One of the guys got still to this day, like this huge scar down there. Yeah, with bottles.
And they have bottles?
Yeah. Unopened bottles, which is properly, I remember, what I remember was, a guy had a metal bin, which he smacked on me, and I think that was the first one I stopped with my arm, the second one I think just got me now. And then you're hearing these sort of voices, leave him, all this I hear. Next thing I remember him in the hospital and stuff like that. So proper messed up. The only time I've ever had any sort of thing like that, just
one time.
It was a definite loss. Definite beating.
Jesus. Oh, came back from it though.
Oh yeah. Well,
got him.
They
got him. You said.
They got. There's a couple of them.
Sorted, mate.
I think a couple of them went to
justice
or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully.
Don't mess with Luke Toulson. He'll do all the admin afterwards correctly.
Perfect admin. Okay, let's
2 more.
Yeah, let's keep going.
When I was a kid, I had braces, but not the ones which you take out, and
the train tracks.
No, so not the train tracks which are fixed on, but is that what you call
the ones that you do take out,
retainers.
Retainers, is that what they call them? It was ages ago, and it was quite painful. when you push it in and you're meant to take it out every night, but it was so painful to put it in, and I stopped sort of taking it out. And then the less I took it out, the harder it was and the more painful it was. And then eventually I couldn't take it out because my gums had grown around the wires. And we had to eventually, when my parents found out that I wasn't taken out, I had to get taken to a dentist, and the dentist had to literally cut it out.
Jesus,
so cut it out.
So you stood there with your mouth, or sat there with your mouth open there, like, what? How do they cut it?
Some
Scissors
sort of,
or
some sort of whatever. I don't remember that, but she said it was, this was a first for her. She'd never had to ever do this.
Your parents annoyed you?
No, this is sort of fairly standard for me. Like, this is a short list for me in terms of fails. This was the first 10 that came to my mind when I was thinking about it. And there's going to be so many that are going to come back, and I'm like, I'm going to have to tweet them to you guys. And so, but yeah, no, I've still got the sort of the scars inside my mouth from where my
bad.
skin
Thought
had just...
of gum growing over.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Did you have braces when you were growing up?
No, never.
Nice genes.
Show me your teeth. Wow. They're good. What about you? But you had braces?
No.
Really?
I know braces are. Erasure? Braces?
Wow. Just some
What?
genetics.
That's brilliant podcasting as well, I thought. Visually looking at everyone's teeth. The listeners feel like they're
everyone
here.
had them, but you three all got perfectly decent teeth.
Yeah, that is odd though. I feel like loads of people had them in my school.
Yeah. A lot of people did them.
Yeah, man, that's weird, isn't it?
I knew people who had to wear still the headset things at night. I remember going to the kids' house and headset at night. Yeah.
But it's so difficult when you're so worried about how you look, and then you have these braces and your glasses. And
Although I think
and
it came a point, there was so many when I was like sort of 14, 15 that it actually became not like, I don't remember people getting taken the piss out or anything. It's just like, but someone I used to work with had adult braces for 2 years, and that was a bit tougher for her because she was like, 27 and just smiling in pubs with braces and everything.
Yeah, you got to get it done early, as early as possible.
So what's the last one then?
Oh, right.
Number 10.
Yeah, this is
at
proper,
number 10.
This is a proper fail. It was so my son. You might remember him from earlier.
That's it.
The success of this is that he's still alive. That's the one thing about being a parent is you got to just keep them alive. Because like when you think as a parent, when you have kids, you have these aspirations of what you are going to do, and you're going to teach them French, and you're going to get them to learn the piano, and then it's really just about keeping them alive. That's it. Your eye line comes down to that. Every night you put them to bed, you're like, fucking nailed it, right? And a couple of years ago, so my daughter, who is 16, she's a vegetarian and has been since she was 9, which is cool, but embarrassing when your daughter has sort of higher principles than you do. But so whenever they come and stay with me, because they live with their mum and Tony, and we like go to like some sort of cool vegetarian restaurant. So there's a place I think it's called Muriel's. I think anyway. There's one in Soho and there's one in King's Cross. So there's a vegetarian place in.
I know Muriel's.
Yeah.
No, Mildred's.
Mildred. Sorry, Mildred's. Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was something beginning with M. And so it's on that. If you're going from King's Cross up to Angel, and so anyway, we're eating there. So it's me, and my son, and my daughter, and my son's like me, he's sort of lanky and just eats a lot, and it just sort of just goes. Anyway, so my daughter had ordered this meal, and she didn't finish it all. No, I don't know what's the order I should tell this story. So it's important that my son has a very severe nut allergy. And my daughter had ordered something that had peanuts in. Now, I knew that because I had ordered it, and it wasn't like they were even particularly hidden peanuts. They were just sat on the top, But I'm so like brought up in that Victorian values, very old, of the... I'm now just doing the jokes before you
can like have a go.
I have nothing but respect for the elderly.
But that idea of waste not, want not, you've got to finish. There's no way. Even now, got to finish your food. Way beyond it becomes uncomfortable. I still eat it. And so anyway, my daughter hadn't finished her food, so I'm like telling my son to eat the food, and I sort of must have known it had peanuts in it. But I'm telling my son, finish the food, eat the food, eat the food. And anyway, we sat there, and then just after a couple of minutes, he goes, "Dad, did that have peanuts in?" And at that moment, you're suddenly like, "Shit, I've pretty much force-fed this kid." Like,
poison my son,
it's kryptonite, you know what I mean? So we okay, let's get the bill, let's see how you're feeling. You're okay, right? So we get on the tube, and we're about one stop on the tube, and he starts, I'm not feeling so good. I'm like, okay, right, we've got to go to hospital. So we go, I live London Bridge, so I'm thinking, There's Guy's Hospital there. We'll just go straight to that one. That makes it. We're on the way to London Bridge. Let's go. We turn up there, and they don't have a fucking A&E there. Like, what's the point of having a hospital without an A&E department? Anyway, so we're then suddenly we then have to rush over to St Thomas's, which is over at Westminster Bridge, and then anyway, we get there, and by this stage, my son is like losing it. He's going into like anaphylactic shock. He's got the hives, his skin's all over his face, and they're sort of rushing him straight into to not intensive care, but they are, you know when people talk about waiting times at hospitals, there isn't a waiting time when you turn up with your son. They're like straight.
The guy's about
through.
to explode. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. So we went in and they straight away, and they then put him on. They give him the shots and they put him on the thing. We spend the night there, and that's a good call. That's a good phone call to make to your son's mum. So when you ring up and it's like 12 o'clock at night, there's no reason you're calling the other than
Shit,
I
fucked
Bad,
it.
and I'll be like, how's things?
Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Try and make
Okay,
some small talk.
don't worry.
That's
Don't worry.
the first thing. He's alive. He is. Yeah. He is. Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, and she was cool about it. That was a weird one. That was a proper fail. That's like the most.
Was your
stupid
son
thing.
angry at you?
No, he found the whole thing. He was fine, and then actually he was okay. Then the bloody fiance I keep banging on about. She came over and picked up my daughter. They went back, and we just spent the night in the hospital. And then actually, when he was fine we were then sort of in the small hours of the night, the morning. I don't know, 4 o'clock or something like this. We go out and we're going to get a taxi, go back, and my son just goes, "Can we cycle back? The Boris bikes." And we're like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not, man?" You know what I mean? Like it's been one of those nights. So we had this really cool. Then we just cycled back on the Boris bikes along the river, which was quite fun and sort of made up for the fact that I'd almost killed him.
Yeah.
And in many ways,
We had
it was,
an ET
a memory he'll never get back.
It
He should be thinking.
But it was just one of those ones, man, when you just like, Jesus.
You really, they pit your stomach and you realise you really fucked up.
When you fucked up, but it's so stupid. So stupid.
yeah.
I know he's got a peanut allergy, right? It's the one thing you don't give him. I knew the thing had peanuts in, but I was just so conditioned that when someone had to
But why
finish
didn't
this
you
food-
eat the food?
Well, I think, I don't know.
So I got peanut allergy,
Yeah,
You wanted it, it's mine.
it's dangerous.
And when you
But
tell
why
that
didn't you-
story as well, do you really like just push the good bike ride at the end?
Oh,
You're just
the bike.
Oh yeah, remember when we had that fun bike ride? that was a good time.
I
Wasn't
forgot
it?
why we were out so late.
Yeah.
Must have been at a pub or
That
something.
midnight
but
bike
yeah.
ride was
Well, that was a good moment, father son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forgive me, please forgive me. No, it's all cool, and we all just felt so stupid. And, but I mean, they blame themselves, which is the great thing about my kids. They think it's their
Bought him a
fault.
Snickers.
So Luke, thank you so much for
Hey,
coming
no,
on.
thank you.
But before we go, do you want to plug anything before we leave?
Yeah, the All I Do Is Fail podcast is really worth listening to. That is what it's called, isn't it? This is, man. No, I'm cool. If they're interested, they can find me on all the socials.
How do they find you? What's the
Luke Toulson, at Luke Toulson or Toulson Luke, I think, for Instagram. I think my website's luketoulson.com. Come and see me at a gig.
with his finger on the pulse there.
Boom.
Yeah, it's all Luke Toulson.
on the World Wide Web? No.
Well, people will know if they know my name's Luke
What's
Toulson.
your
They
TikTok
Google it.
profile?
I have downloaded the app.
There
You
you,
should,
go.
I haven't signed up yet,
Danny,
but-
is it,
Darren Walsh.
Darren Walsh, huge on TikTok.
Yeah.
Smashes. Yeah.
His video's got
this
a
is
million
the future.
views.
Oh, it's the present.
yeah.
Got to do some stupid dancing. We should get on it.
Ali is quite good at dancing.
Oh, you like dancing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being good and liking is.
Oh, yeah.
No, well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dance with you, Tom.
They call him Snake Hips McGinger.
That's quite a good name. That was quite good improv for you, Tom.
MC Ginger.
Yeah.
Oh, he
MC,
touched my
yeah,
thigh as
yeah.
well. You're getting fucking lonely in this dry January, aren't
Mate,
you?
dry Jan, I've got a.
I've never been touched so much by Tom in this last week and a half.
Normally I'm hungover and I'm like, don't look at me. But
Yeah.
this is,
You look good on it, man.
Thank you.
Well, so what have you got?
Thank
Another 2-3 weeks to go.
Yeah, another 2-3 weeks. So
3 weeks.
it'll be all right. Guys, you can follow me at Tom Elwes. You can buy tickets.
So I
For the
think,
Vault Festival?
yeah, we can. So just I'll do I think we should do another little segment,
Oh,
so we can just
mid-roll.
put that right at the top,
top,
just
yeah.
be like live show. At the front. But yeah, you're right about that, Tom. Yeah, you are. We have got our live show 21st of February at Vault Festival. Tickets are very reasonably priced. So if you want to see this sort of quality fail content live and our lovely faces, especially Tom's lovely face, we all know he's piff.
Yeah.
So
Snake Hips McGinger.
and Snake Hips McGinger. I will be doing 45 minutes of dancing before we start recording to warm up the crowd.
Sort of
So
be like on a podium at the side, just sort of whelping
I
people
could do
in.
that. I
Yeah.
could do that.
Get you in a
I
little
could do
cage.
that. And I'll be there. Horatio won't be there because he's in Namibia.
Yeah.
But That's a shame.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of fans on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll probably
Sorry to
have
let them
Mooch
down.
or someone as good.
So yeah, please do anyway. Vault Festival website. Look for All I Do Is Fail or AIDIF, and you will find tickets for the show. So it's 8:30 p.m. and that's a Friday as well. So it's a good night out. So if you want to start your weekend right, get on the podcast live.
Good stuff, guys. All right. Thank you very much, Luke.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.